kind of want to finish this conversation. So I know you all been sitting here watching it.
Well, people are too obsessed with videos, and that's not what it is. What it is that
My
tells
two favorite
people
journalists.
that he's not willing to fight for them, that he's not there when it's going to get
Tree?
hard, and they know that if you're going to take on
Yo,
corporate power, you're going to take on any.
Can you splice nectarines and berries? I didn't get to that part in my science class. Yeah, you think that's it, Bourbon? Is my whole life I was always like, fuck the core. You know, I don't need to worry about that. And now it's coming back to get me. My core is suffering. I skipped core day like every single day. Not that I forever exercise, but I exercise my core even less. What can I do though? You can graft? That would be tasty. Peachberry?
The other power centers,
You think I'm
have to be
dying?
willing to do the hard things and tell the powers that be no, even when it's.
I feel like I'm glad because I thought it was like it was something wrong with my liver. I was like, oh, I'm drinking too much kratom and my liver's all fucked. But I'm actually, it's actually seems like a less of a problem if it's a hernia because my core sucks. I don't know if that's true,
And
but
especially
it feels
when
that way.
it's difficult for you. And the fact that he didn't do that, I think, like that really resonated with people. And the fact that he did it then, it's one thing if you don't believe it, but then to do it as you're launching your campaign,
You can graft and experiment.
just tells people, oh, okay, yes, I like him, he's been great, but he's another politician.
Was there Israel lobby money in that race?
There was a lot of controversy because this, I think, Real Fight PAC got in, and we know for a fact that about $200,000 of that money was teachers' union
all day,
money,
every
some
day.
other union money.
I mean,
that's
I don't
fixed.
know. I usually have like 4 or 5 cups a day. Like, a scoop. Like a Kool-Aid scoop. Like you would use for like country time. Something like that. And then I put, like 6 ounces of water, 4 ounces of water or something. And drink that a couple times a day.
Super PAC, Valdez was accusing it of possibly being AIPAC money. We don't know yet. It seems more likely that it's real estate focused money.
I'm realizing
but
it's
there's
no joke.
no evidence
So
yet
what do
that
I
they
do?
because I think AIPAC understood.
Can I get it to
think
go
they would
away?
prefer Reynoso, obviously, to Mamdani's candidate. But they also understood that once Reynoso was in office, if he'd have won, he's gone to them,
Yeah.
like a Valerie Fouché
Mother
style.
weed plant.
He wasn't
Yeah.
gonna, he wasn't coming
strains
back.
grafted onto it.
Yeah, the politics of the district dictate that if he would want to hold on to that job, he would
Right.
need to
Can I make it
take
go
those
away?
votes and reposition himself fully and completely. Let's talk a little bit about Dan Goldman
I mean,
and
it's
Brad
always the
Lander.
same
Dan
spot.
Goldman, I don't think is as consistent or progressive. He's got some, some corporate centrist in him for sure,
Dude.
More so than Reynoso.
Dude, poor
But
Dan
also very
Goldman.
clear here that the dividing line
Poor
was
Dan
Israel.
Goldman.
Brad Lander endorses Mamdani. Comes out, and I don't know that he would describe himself as an anti-Zionist. He's not a DSA member. He's a little bit more, to the center than certainly like
lived
a
a hard
Daria Lisa
life.
or a Claire Valdez, but also has made it plain that he opposes the genocide, he opposes these war crimes and human rights violations, and wins handily. It was a foregone
Oh my God,
conclusion
the
basically
bad
as soon as they
Banana
closed the
fans
polls.
online are
Lander,
insufferable.
Lander
God.
was able to declare victory. So, talk a
the
little bit
fuck
about
up.
the dynamics there and why that was such an incredible slam dunk for him. And by the way, I think one of the most heavily
core
Jewish
shit.
districts in the entire country, if not the most heavily Jewish district in the entire country.
Yeah, that really could have been Goldman's seat for life if he would have
Really?
been
Killed
kind of
your
a,
dad?
even a normal Democrat
Oh, well, that's not- that
in
didn't-
that district. Instead,
Come on, that
he
didn't
decided
kill
to
him.
make, and he was this hero of the resistance, leading the Trump impeachment. And Trump
Indirectly.
won. He's like a real kind of resistance 1.0 MSNBC type figure who rode that fame to then a very divided.
what should I be
race. If
doing
people
when
remember,
I'm
there was
sitting
Mondaire
here?
Jones, Yulin New, very split field. So he kind of squeaked by and never had a huge base of support, and was able to win thanks to spending a fortune of his own money. He's an heir of Levi Strauss,
surgery.
which also San Francisco's mayor is also a Levi Strauss heir. What's going on with his family?
What happens if I strengthen
but
my core
he
now?
instead
Yeah, turmeric
decided
is good,
to be
yeah.
this hostile antagonist.
I used to take turmeric, and I felt great. And then the bottle ran out, and I never got another one. I should get more turmeric. Kayak? Really? Yeah, can I do something like that? Is there something I can do, like one of those like hand things, those grip things? Can I do something the equivalent to that while I'm sitting here? Because I'm dreading going to sit at my desk. I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to do any work because my back hurts so much.
to Mamdani and to all of the
Maybe I'll
protesters
stand.
against the genocide.
Would that be
Like
better?
he became
The
one of these
leaning over
like the
is
chief
probably not
spokespeople
good.
against that. And I don't think he's still to this day like endorsed Mamdani, not in the
Weighted
definitely not in the primary,
vests?
not in the general.
I could do that.
And he still is kind of fighting with Mamdani constantly. And I saw somebody floating like, oh, maybe Goldman is now leading, challenger to Mamdani.
He lost by
for re-election.
35
It's like, bro,
points.
yes,
Good
so
luck
he
with
got
that.
absolutely destroyed in his own district, but he's going to be more popular in the rest of the city. But yeah, so he made that his issue, and it blew up. It blew up in his face. The last couple of days of the race, the big scandal there was
been
that he
icing
went
it all
into
day.
a coffee shop called Poetica, and so his daughter could use the bathroom, and so he bought
Outpatient,
coffee so she could use the
it
bathroom.
Insurance
And
Whole
later-
New York
right?
City experience.
Yeah, later
by
they-
the way.
So insurance
Yes.
killed him then.
Later, they realized that that was Dan Goldman. They
Water
said
in
this
the
is blood
joints?
money, this AIPAC money, and they refunded the money, and that became a public thing. He said
Turmeric,
he
fish
talked
oil,
about,
and a
he as the
multivitamin.
vendor was saying
Yeah, I
this is
gotta do that.
anti-Semitic. They were quite clear that this was aimed at his support of genocide. And interestingly, I talked to somebody last night who was following Espaillat around, and he said Espaillat got thrown out of a bodega when the bodega owner learned that Espaillat was taking AIPAC money.
Yeah.
And Espaillat's not Jewish. Like this is, it's the same thing. Like you're taking AIPAC money and you're supportive of genocide. We don't want your business.
Right.
So that is a
Fenugreek?
completely separate thing. And I think it's
What's fenugreek?
inconvenient for Goldman that he was beaten by a Jewish opponent
Yes.
in a landslide.
Yeah, dude,
So
they don't know what to do.
Who was like
That's
very,
a-
They don't know what to do.
He's very proud of his Jewish heritage. He talks a lot about that. It's very clearly central to Brad Lander's identity. And
Yeah, Crystal
to your
knows.
point, because he has a different position and doesn't take AIPAC money, he's not getting thrown out of bodegas or having his money refunded to him after the fact because
Yeah,
it's
I
not
know,
about
because I slept on the
Dan Goldman being
couch.
Jewish. It's about the
I slept
position.
on the couch for like a week straight because I was like watching shows after the stream, and then my back hurt. So if I sleep in bed, it's okay. It's just I can't sleep on the couch anymore, I guess. Fuck.
that he holds and, so running cover for a genocide that people find to be abhorrent and unconscionable.
Right. Yeah, there's no protected kind of civil
But
rights
last
class
time-
of genocide supporter.
Last time I slept on the couch, and then I went and slept in bed one night, and the next morning I woke up and it was fine. I woke up today and it still hurts. So I don't know.
Like that is some. Now, the Department of Justice under Trump certainly they tweeted that they're going to try to make a federal case of it.
Which
They
I
tweet
do
that
want
all
to
the
say
time,
to
though.
Goldman's credit, he came out and said, we shouldn't do that. Right. He
Right.
did not support
Yeah, 'cause he
their
knows he'll
decision to go in that
lose.
direction. But at the very
He
same
doesn't
time,
wanna
the
do
JD
discovery.
Vance saying, if everything's Jew hatred, then nothing is Jew hatred. You have the Trump DOJ acting as if everything is Jew hatred and
Right.
pursuing federal prosecutions based on, opposition to someone supportive genocide.
Yeah. But yeah, so to get beaten that badly, like I said, like it's the biggest defeat margin-wise for a Democrat in I can't remember when. Not in my lifetime, I feel like.
We're going to talk more tomorrow about the fallout from all of this because I do think there are going to be a whole lot of holy shit moments going on right now of Democratic candidates who bet the way that Dan Goldman bet
though.
that, it's always been safe politics to be pro-Israel. Up until the past couple of years, it has always been, that's where the organization has been, that's where it has always been the safe political bet to do effectively the bear hug strategy when it comes to Israel. And in the Democratic Party, that is just no longer the case. And I don't think anyone has described this better than Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's like, because
Movement.
if you aren't willing to stand up against genocide,
Yeah.
why would we think you're going to stand up for democracy? Or I would add to that fight on any other issue where it requires standing up
Like
to
a bat?
power, to the donor class. And we've got an oligarchy crisis in the country and the world that I think is extraordinarily grave and genuinely existential. If you're not willing to say a genocide's a genocide, we have no chance of you going up against Elon Musk and the burgeoning class of trillionaires. So to me, it makes all the sense in the world that this has become a core litmus test. And then, of course, just the nature of how
I
many
tried that.
horrific, unconscionable,
Some
stomach-churning
anise.
images of toddlers being murdered
Didn't really do anything.
young babies who are triple amputees. I mean, of course, people are going to look at that with revulsion
I've
and
been
say, if
putting
you
ice
did
on it, that
anything
helps. Yeah.
to run cover for this, I don't want anything to do with you. And I don't know how you can call yourself a Democrat and pretend to posture like you care about human rights and morality and democracy. So there's just an overwhelming revulsion, too. So the way that most Democrats, the vast majority of Democrats, comported themselves throughout the period of this genocide. The last piece I wanted to play here before we move on to the next topic is you were able to speak a little bit exclusively to Zohran Mamdani last night,
Really?
where he reflected on what this all means and what sentiments they were trying to express. You want to set this up a little bit, Ryan?
Yeah, this was A.B. Youssef, who's a Drop Site contributor. So he spoke at the Dario Lisa event and was then on his way out. And so AB was able to grab him for a couple of minutes here. Let's roll that.
This win is
directly
incredible.
proportional
Lisa
to
began
like
a
the way I
campaign
treat
where
my back.
she was up against every possible set of odds, and she pulled off a victory that is helping to rewrite politics in our city and in our country. She is someone who brings a clarity, a conscience, and a conviction to a politics that has often been missing those things. And in a city and in a district that has been so desperate for leadership when it comes to putting working people back at the heart, she will deliver that. And it was an honor to be one part of this incredible campaign and to see her win alongside Brad Lander, Claire Valdez, and every single one of the state legislative candidates that I had the privilege of supporting. It shows that last June was not an anomaly, it was not an aberration, it was the beginning of a new kind of politics. And I cannot wait for what that next chapter is going to look like.
I think supporters and detractors alike probably agree that, last night shows that there is a new kind of thing that is happening, that Zohran was not a one-off, that this is much more of a movement that is also not just about New York City.
Yeah. No, yes, they're going to have to pay attention to that. And credit to AB for doing a better job with this mic than I did with mine. But I'm learning. I'm trying.
All right. We're going to go now to an interview that I did earlier with Dr. Trita Parsi on the status of the Iran negotiations and whether or not Congress.
I pulled out a couple of the worst takes. Maybe we'll get to that later. Did Andrew go over there? What up, Holmes?